So today's the day. We're taking down these tall balsams right here. So we've got a couple of reasons for doing this. We've been thinking about this for a long time, actually since we got the land. Basically, we knew the house was going to go right there, just because it seemed the most efficient way to get solar gain, whether it was for solar power, but also for all the big windows on this side. South is basically directly behind me, and we get a lot of sun. The sun's shining on the house right now, basically, but this whole half is shaded. So we knew that we're gonna have to possibly take them down for solar gain, but also there's a big balsam stump right here, right in front of me. So that tree was right here. It left a big depression. It had fallen this way. You can still see some of the trunks right here and right here. So we've been cleaning this up for basically just having planting area. But these balsams, they really like to uproot. They have really shallow roots. So they really like to uproot, and that's what happened with this one. It just kind of uprooted. They also snap like this. A lot of the strong summer storms we get come from the south direction. So a couple of days ago it was pretty windy, and we could just see the balsams kind of tipping this way. They're just gently swaying this way. So it's definitely nerve-wracking every time we get a windstorm, looking at those and seeing that they're tall enough to definitely fall on our house. So those are a couple more reasons. I'm gonna go show you another reason real quick. So here's another reason. You can see there's the heartwood is basically exposed in this tree. There's also a little wound in this tree right here. And this is from when the loggers came and they skidded right by it, and the machine probably rubbed up against it, or maybe they dragged a log and it rubbed up against it. But either way, the heartwood being exposed probably isn't too good for the tree, and probably isn't too good for like the inside of the tree, so rot can set in there. So maybe it'll be rotten by the time if we left them to grow, it might be rotten eventually, and it might just fall right on the house. So that's another reason.
Really sad. It sucks because I don't like taking trees down for partial selfish reasons, just in case scenarios, but there are tons of reasons why to do it. But I think that anybody that's going to take a tree down should at least take a second, well, more than a second, couple minutes to just appreciate the growth, the years it's spent, things it's seen before you've seen.
Think about its life. It is a life. It's a living creature.
Yeah. So I'm trying not to cry. It makes me really sad.
So we're going to take these trees down in a few minutes, but we also want to talk about what we're going to do with them. So they're not going to go to waste, and we're not going to just burn the tops. So it's November. As you can see, the snow on the ground. The holiday season will be here soon, and we make wreaths to sell for holiday purposes. So we're going to be using all the tops, all these boughs for wreath making. Whatever we don't use for wreath making will go to our goats, and they'll eat the boughs, all the green off of the boughs. And we're not sure exactly what we're going to do with the trunks yet. We might mill them into finished lumber for interior purposes. We might use them for a cordwood structure or a cordwood wall, which is basically kind of like masonry but with wood. You use mortar kind of in between the walls. In between the pieces of cordwood, or we might use them for firewood, for sugaring wood, when we come into the sugar season in February. So regardless, the trunks and the tops will have a purpose, and basically every part of this tree will be put to use. So that's one thing that we strive to do. We don't want to waste anything when it comes to taking a life. We don't take it lightly, because this is a tree that's going to be, if we weren't here, it would have a life. So unfortunately for the tree, it is here. We are here, and unfortunately for the tree, it's not in the most desirable location. So we also think we're kind of doing it a favor, because it is wounded, as you can see behind me, as we showed before. It is wounded, so I feel like it's just a matter of time. So maybe we can put the log to use while it's still got a valuable wood in it. So we're gonna get to work and gonna hopefully get the mess all cleaned up today.
So I'm leaving an offering of tobacco to appreciate the lives of these trees. Kind of makes me really sad. I even get teared up because I know we're taking these down for the sake of our own home, but we're gonna utilize them in any way we can. And they're old and wise, but we gotta be safe. They're not the healthiest, as you can tell. And every time we have a windstorm, we kind of stay up at night thinking, oh no, I hope they don't fall in the house. So they gotta go, unfortunately. So we're gonna spend a moment doing that. A great way to get to Kitsimino too. So something we do in the holiday season, I guess you'd call it, right?
Yeah, the solstice, wintry season.
We make some Christmas wreaths for a little bit of extra income. So we just took that tree down, and we're gonna put together a wreath. So we'll show it to you.
So this is the south-facing slope behind our home, and we are cleaning it up a little bit. This was a complete mess when we got here. Well, the whole land is a complete mess, but that's kind of part of our mission here, is trying to ecologically rehabilitate it. So yeah, there was brambles all right here, raspberry, some mountain maple, which is like a shrubby maple, There was some pin cherry, which there still is. There's a little pin cherry right here. Goldenrod was part of that. May have been some burdock. A lot of pioneer species like that. So what we're trying to do, we can see some nettles growing in, which is really cool because that's extremely nutritious food. Also great for medicine. Basically, we use tea. We make tea out of it and make a tincture out of that. So if you want to check that out, go to our website, which is in the description below. But anyway, yeah, we're cleaning this up a little bit, and what we're gonna do with all the slash that was left here, you'll see there's still some logs up there from when we dropped one of these firs here. So we're probably going to save, those are 8-foot lengths. We're gonna save those and try to mill them up. But what we're gonna do with all the slash here is continue this basically Hugel swale mound right here. So that's loosely on contour.
Hi.
Hi. Loosely on contour. And we're hoping to build that up with enough debris and slash that we can start to top it off with hay like this one, like we started to right here. There's another one up here. There's another one right here. This has all got bedding hay and stuff like that on it. So yeah, hopefully we can get the remainder of the slash in this area from basically from here to like right there. You know, look at that.
So we worked on cleaning up this spot, and last year there's old shots that we have, Michael might put them in, of when the goats were in here and you couldn't even see them. But now some grass, if you look close, some grass and dandelion are starting to come up. We even got some nettles and yellow dock, some medicinal plants that we can utilize and also eat. We have some even, what's it called? Can't think of it right now. Burdock. Some burdock, and the roots are really good at accumulating nutrients, but also for us to use as tinctures and bitters. So yeah.
So we got this mostly done. We topped it with small brambles and brush and stuff. Yeah, like Shakoi mentioned, which I forgot to mention earlier. And you also see there's like a little gap here. This is a path that we use a lot, so we'll probably dig a little bit right here, put the material right there, and put like a stump for a step.
If you're wondering what this is, it's our chestnut.
It's a Chinese chestnut?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make sure, if you can't see it now, but there is already soil erosion. So we're gonna make sure we mound that up, and up here we're gonna put some nitrogen fixing, or like sea berries, or even locusts within our forest, so we can fix some nitrogen, because these are really heavy feeders.
So yeah, that way when all the water comes down, it'll carry nitrogen to these heavy feeders. But yeah, as you can see, a lot of it was cleared up. So basically we only had a small walkway from here. It kind of went up this way. You can sort of see the path because all this had brush and slash. So like I said before, what Shakoi was saying is that we utilized the goats to clear all this. So this was all like, I don't know, maybe this high, sort of, with brush and brambles and stuff.
Honestly,
so
we didn't even know what was in here. We didn't know how much slash was in here, or logs.
Right, so like right in here, it was so shady before we started building earlier this summer that we found chicken of the woods mushrooms sort of on logs in there. So that's how shady it was with all the brambles and stuff. So I mean, we don't want to completely change the landscape, but right here in zone 1 of our area, using a permaculture lens, we'd like to have enjoyable outdoor living spaces and also plantings. So that's kind of what the pond will be eventually. You can see this depression, and that's where the pond will be.
Also, it's south-facing, and it's foolish to not utilize the fact that you have a south-facing slope for food, especially medicine. Like we have already planted a sea berry out. We have chestnuts growing. Just because we have trees planted doesn't mean that it's going to be completely shaded. We have understory stuff. Now we have nettles, dock that'll be underneath, along with some herbaceous and shrub-like material of
right,
some
and
sort.
yeah, and as these trees will take a long time to mature. So in that succession, there will be other forms that the slope will take. But we'll take a walk up the slope a little bit, and something Shakoi pointed out too is there's a big boulder here, and there's sort of a canyon. You can see a little depression right here, and that's where
soil erosion.
Yeah, so this is where all the soil is leaving, basically. You can see
there too.
Right here. Yep, there's a little crevice here, sort of, and you can see beneath these sticks. I can stick my hand way far in, which is not normal because the soil should be. We don't want it compacted, but we don't want it to be so loose that it's going to run away with the water. So we'll likely take some of these logs here, things like this, all this stuff up here, which you can sort of see because it's covered in snow, but here's a huge mess. So we'll probably likely take those, and it's hard to see it on the camera, but the contour of this slope would be roughly sort of following here, and that's level. This is basically the way the slope is going because, like I said, there's a little valley ridge thing right here. So we're going to make another mound sort of connecting this rock, this stump, and this stump. So we always try to look for handy voluminous natural features that can help fill in some of the mound. So this is all stuff like we'd like the stump gone, but we're not going to bring in stump grinders, but we can maybe inoculate the stump with mushroom spawn, or maybe we'll just put some mushroom spawn in the mound.
Also, these are the medicinals that are coming up. So we got nettles, which is a pioneer. This isn't the species from here. This isn't wood nettle. but it's also food and it's very nutritious. We've got dock coming up, which is really good. They have great roots. This is burdock.
And all these roots will help hold back erosion too. So you notice us with a brush cutter, we're cutting down all the dead stalks for these brambles, but very likely the roots are still alive because they're pretty tenacious plants. So that's a good thing to hold back erosion for the winter. But I think what we'll do in the next day or so, maybe even right now, is cast out some seed here and maybe put some mulch down, not mulch, but mulch hay, to try to get that to germinate next spring. Because we'd like, I mean, like Shakoi said, you can see these grasses coming in. These weren't here in the spring because it was too shaded for anything to grow, except for the brambles. They kind of choked everything out. So I think what we'll probably try to do is, yeah, get some grass. Not that we want a lawn, but just a nice, enjoyable walking area.
We also have red clover that we're gonna seed out. We have red clover and we have ryegrass. That's just right now to hold it. And the red clover we can harvest for herbal goods.
And it's also a nitrogen fixer too.
Yeah, and also eventually we're going to introduce understory thing. Maybe we'll put strawberries, who knows what it'll evolve to, but our purpose is to use it for food, medicine, or something our animals could use. And I want to thank the goats for this area.
Right, and also that's why we want to seed the grass too for goats, and we'll probably get sheep in the future. The goats are really handy now for all the choked out brushy areas we have, but the sheep will be really handy for grassy areas. Goats are more browsers rather than grazers, and sheep are grazers rather than browsers. So we'd like this to be lush green foliage that we can graze in between. So if there's a swale mound here and there's a swale mound right behind Shakoi, there's a small alley right here that will be sort of maybe from that rock behind Shakoi. There'd be a little alley this far, and that's plenty enough room for a few sheep for a day of grazing, or even half a day of grazing. And we'd like to have lush green foliage rather than lush green, very prickly brambles.
We've been spoiling the goats with a whole bunch of tops, and we've already brought in 2 armloads of it, and they're just demolishing it. And when we take our goats for walks to stretch their legs, and when they go out, they go for the evergreens because that's all that's left. So we'll have to show you how much they've eaten so far. We've already taken some of the tops and put them